had always thought of myself as a Christian. I got baptized at a young age. I accepted Christ. I prayed the prayer. I went to church. I thanked God for my blessings. I asked God for forgiveness when I messed up. I gave a little money here and there. What else was there? Well, at the end of 2010 and the beginning of 2011, I started down a path that was destructive to my marriage. Throughout 2011, we had a lot of marital issues. We had ups and downs, mostly downs. And then I decided to move out and seek counseling and get on medication, antidepressants. After 66 days, I moved back in and we were really gonna try this time. After I moved in, I was awarded temporary CPS custody of my 9-year-old niece and 8-year-old nephew. So in addition to battling depression, trying to heal my marriage, uncertainty with my job, taking 4 college classes, and other personal stresses, I was now a full-time mom. Our marriage was hanging on by a thread. He decided to move out in December, and at that point, things just really took a turn for the worst. I did not expect my life to turn out like this. I really began to abuse medication. It is amazing how many anxiety attacks you will have when you have a pill for it. I drank coffee in excess instead of eating. I smoked all the time, and I was just really trying to do anything I could to get rid of this pain. Christmas was the most difficult day of my life up to that point. Waking up with dark sadness and 2 kids was not my idea of a wonderful time of year. I tried to put on a happy face, but I failed. I woke up January 1st feeling hungover, an emotional wreck, and I just felt hopeless and lonely. I was determined to fix this. I told God that I was not gonna smoke or drink anymore. I was not gonna miss church anymore, and I changed my radio station to KSBJ. After talking with my husband a few times, he said that he felt like I was stable enough to file for divorce. FYI, I was not stable. On February 8th, I had a psychiatrist appointment in Houston to get on different medication, and I saw the male nurse, and he had asked me if I was okay because I had been crying the entire time I was there. And without even thinking, I told him I was suicidal. I immediately regretted saying that because I really wanted to die. And I thought for sure now he was going to admit me into a hospital, but he didn't. Instead, he gave me more medication and sent me home. I got home, I parked crazy in the driveway and rushed into the house to make sure that my pills were there since others had a key to get into my house. I put the pills on the counter. I went and fed my dachshund Diesel and gave him his meds. And then I went back into the bathroom and started the journey to end my life. During the next several hours, I took more than 11 bottles of pills. And during that time, I was listening to Christian music and I was praying to God and asking Him to forgive me for what I was doing. I told Him I was sorry for hurting my husband and for ruining my life. After more than 12 hours of being on life support and ICU, much to everyone's surprise, I woke up. Depressed is not even a strong enough word to describe where I was. It was so dark and low, and I questioned why was I alive. The doctor said that I made it to the hospital within 15 to 20 minutes of losing my life. Any later and I would have been dead. And I knew that God saved my life at that point, but I didn't know why, and I was so angry. I spent all day crying and praying and asking God why. I became very intentional about following Christ. Everything I read, watched, listened to, spent time doing was about God. I regularly attended church, went to counseling, attended a divorce care class, attended a class called Making Peace with Your Past that was led by Stephanie Beams. And to Stephanie, I appeared to be someone who was someone that was still trying to control the situation. And so she had asked me if I was saved, and I had told her if I accepted Christ, and I told her yes. And she said that she had asked me if I had truly surrendered to Him and given him control? And I told her, yeah. Well, I think so, maybe, I don't know. And she told me that she didn't think that I had, and would I like to pray about that? And I said, of course. So Stephanie and I prayed, and that is when I recommitted my salvation and fully surrendered my life to God. Now, when I left the office, I didn't have birds chirping in the air and the dark cloud wasn't lifted, but I did feel a change, and something was definitely different. I still struggled though, and everyone thought I was fine and wanted me to get over it. But I was not fine, and I was not over it. I was completely alone, and I was so angry with God. I prayed and I cried out to him, and I asked him to take my life. And I just really had to trust that he had a plan for me. I see now I was slowly getting better, but it was still so hard. In May we got divorced, and when we went to the courthouse, that day was way different than it was in February. This time I did not have medication, and I was alone. I could feel God healing me, and I knew that he was with me, and he was making changes in my life. And I felt God calling me to be baptized. So May 20th, I was. I went back to work in June, and that's when I realized that I was not in complete darkness anymore. My relationship with God grew and grew. I began serving at church. I became a mentor for True to Life Ministries. I led and hosted a small group, and I was reading the Bible, and this thing is awesome. Like, I didn't understand why I never read it before, and I don't even like to read. So I highly recommend that. I decided to run half a marathon on February 10th, which was just a year after I was in the lowest, darkest place of my life. And one of my new best friends decided to throw a party to celebrate my new life in Christ, and also for completing my first half. And out of all the people that were there, only 3 of them had been in my life a year prior. And it was just so overwhelming and such a blessing to see God brought all these new people into my life that were godly and positive and amazing people. This life is more than I could have ever imagined, and more than anything I could have ever hoped for.